Alright, so our next tribe we're going to learn about is the Comanche tribe. Alright, so you need to pause the video, get your graphic organizer drawn, ready to take your notes, and then we'll read some about them. Alright, so you should have drawn your graphic organizer. If not, rerun this video and get that drawn because you won't be able to take your notes. Alright, so it says in the 1700s, a powerful group of nomads, remember, nomads means they're wanderers, they move around, called the Comanche moved into Texas. They came from the northern Great Plains. Strong fighters and buffalo hunters, the Comanche followed the great herds across the grasslands. They modified every part of the buffalo so that it served them as food or supplies. Clothing, tools, and blankets could be fashioned from the skins and bones. Comanche teepees were made of long poles covered with buffalo hides. Okay, so that's a lot of really good information. So they were, for behavior, they were, what'd they say, strong fighters. And buffalo hunters. So they said they were a powerful group of nomads. Okay, so that's another behavior. They were nomads, nomadic. Where they wandered. Wherever the buffalo went, they followed them. Their houses were teepees. They also, I think this is important for the other, they used every part of the buffalo. Okay, they did not waste any piece of it, which means that was part of their food. Probably the majority of their food was buffalo. Okay. Right here. To carry their teepees and belongings, the Comanche built travois. A travois was a kind of wooden sled dragged by dogs or horses. One economic activity of the Comanche was the trade of buffalo meat and hides with the Caddo and another tribe called the Wichita. Okay, the Wichita. So they built travois. And I'm going to put or sleds, so we remember what that means, to carry their stuff. Okay, another behavior is they were traders. Most of our tribes, our Native American tribes in Texas, were traders. They traded with each other. Okay. Horses first came to North America on Spanish ships. When the Comanche people obtained horses, it changed their way of life forever. They became expert riders and trainers. They hunted and fought on horseback, moving more swiftly than ever before. The Comanche quickly took control of the Great Plains and North Central Plains region of Texas. Okay. So another behavior, they were great. I'm going to have to go outside my little square, my little cloud here, with horses. I'm just going to put that because they were good at riding them. They were great with hunting with them. They were good at training them. Everything about horses they were great with. They were from the North and Central Plains. Okay, North and Central Plains. And if you think about it right now, all the open land in Texas, we have a lot of cattle and things like that, right? Cattle. We don't really have buffalo anymore. So, we live in the North Central Plains when we have a lot of cattle around us. So for the buffalo, which is kind of similar to cattle, to be in that area makes sense. They probably grazed on the grasses. Riding your horse really, really fast and chasing the buffalo, trying to hunt them was probably easier on that flat land. You wouldn't want to be on the beach or in the mountains going for buffalo. There's not going to be a lot for them to eat there. So that makes sense for the area they were in. Okay. By 1875, the United States forced most Comanche people onto a reservation in what is now Oklahoma. Today, there are about 15,000 Comanche in the United States. About half of them still live in southwest Oklahoma, where they own land and have an organized government that offers many services to tribal members. And here's a picture of a Comanche horseback rider. Alright, let's look in, and all I heard about food was buffalo. They probably traded for anything else they needed. Let's see if they have anything else in here about the Comanche. The Comanche were strong warriors and hunters. Like the Karankawa, the Comanche were also a nomadic people who lived in teepees made from long poles covered with buffalo hide. An interesting note, it was the women who took down the teepees and put them back up. The buffalo is very important to the Comanche because they got everything they needed from it: food, clothing, and blankets. The Comanche were skilled at horseback riding, too. In fact, the Comanche ruled the entire Central and Great Plains region. Wow, of Texas. That was a large region for them to control, too. So, teepees, I'm going to add on to here, were put up and taken down by the women. That's interesting. They must have been pretty strong because I know those poles on the teepees were huge. So for them to lift that and hold it and get the buffalo hides wrapped around, they had to have been pretty strong women also. If the men were that strong and they were great warriors, the women probably were also.